They say Malaysian women smile so gently, it feels like the monsoon softens just for them. But anyone who has stepped onto this land of heat, spices, and wild cultural contrasts knows the truth. Beauty here isn't worn on the surface. It breathes in the rhythm between jungles, oceans, and cities that never truly fall asleep. Malaysia sits in the heart of Southeast Asia, a country split between the Malay Peninsula and the vast green wilderness of Borneo, where mountains rise from the mist and dense rainforests breathe like ancient lungs. With more than 33 million people and a land area of over 330,000 square kilometers, it's a nation that feels both intimate and immense. Kuala Lumpur glows with steel towers and neon nights, while islands like Penang and Langkawi hold memories of old spice routes, colonial traces, and communities shaped by Malay, Chinese, Indian, and indigenous cultures. This crossroads of civilizations has made Malaysia not just a country on the map, but a vibrant regional engine, economically rising, historically layered, and culturally unmatched. Moving through Malaysia feels like navigating two different worlds stitched together by highways, monorails, and tropical humidity. In Kuala Lumpur, traffic can swell like a rising tide. Unpredictable, slow, sometimes stubborn, especially during evening rush hours when cars stack beneath the glow of the Petronas Towers. Yet the city's public transport softens the chaos. The MRT, LRT, and monorail slide through the skyline with surprising efficiency, connecting malls, business districts, and old quarters without forcing you into endless jams. Walking is possible in central areas, but the heat and sudden tropical downpours often make people retreat into shaded walkways or air-conditioned bridges between towers. Cycling exists mostly as a lifestyle choice in planned zones like Putrajaya or along scenic coastal routes, but less so in the dense urban core. Outside major cities, highways stretch smooth and long, easy for road trips between Penang, Ipoh, Malacca, and the eastern coast. Still, in rural Borneo, movement slows again. Winding mountain roads, narrow jungle paths, and ferries that cut across wide rivers remind you that this country is built not only for speed, but for patience and discovery. Malaysian women carry a beauty shaped not by one culture, but by many. A blend of Malay softness, Chinese elegance, Indian expressiveness, and the quiet dignity of indigenous roots. Their features shift from island to island, city to city. Warm bronze skin touched by tropical sun, almond-shaped eyes framed by dark lashes, sharp cheekbones in some regions, gentle, rounded silhouettes in others. In Kuala Lumpur, women walk with a confident, modern rhythm. Hijabs styled in rich colors, business suits fitted neatly, or casual dresses that sway under the heat, each expressing identity in her own way. Their behavior mirrors the country's contrasts. In urban centers, they move fast, speak clearly, and stand firmly in workplaces, universities, and parliament halls. In smaller towns, the tone becomes softer, rooted in family, tradition, and communal ties. Yet everywhere, there's a calm resilience, a quiet, grounded strength beneath the surface. Socially, Malaysian women form the backbone of the workforce. They make up roughly 55% of university students and nearly 39% of the labor market. But the gender gap still lingers. Representation in parliament sits around 14 to 15%, and traditional expectations remain strong in many households, where women often balance careers with domestic roles. What makes them unforgettable is the contrast. Graceful beauty standing against real pressures. They navigate expectations, work opportunities, religious norms, and cultural diversity with poise that feels both delicate and unshakable. Whether walking through Kuala Lumpur's glass corridors, selling woven crafts in Sabah markets, or leading research labs and tech startups, Malaysian women don't simply reflect the country. They anchor it. Life in Malaysia moves with a rhythm that shifts from the calm of coastal mornings to the pulse of neon nights in the cities. In Kuala Lumpur, days begin early. Office workers stream into trains, hawker stalls warm up their walks, and traffic hums with quiet impatience. The city is loud, energetic, a little chaotic, but never out of control. People work hard, move fast, and live between glass towers, modern malls, and shaded parks where they catch their breath whenever the heat becomes too heavy. Yet, just a few hours away, the world slows. In Penang, life is scented with street food smoke, art-filled alleyways, and the soft pace of heritage streets where neighbors still greet each other by name. In Sabah and Sarawak, mornings rise with the sound of jungle birds, fishermen returning at sunrise, and families gathering outside wooden houses as if time hasn't learned how to rush at all. Malaysia's rhythm is not uniform, it's layered. Students fill cafes late into the night, freelancers sit with laptops in air-conditioned co-working spaces, retirees stroll through botanical gardens at dawn, and families gather for long weekend meals that stretch for hours. The lifestyle suits almost everyone. Ambitious professionals find opportunity in the cities, while those craving peace discover it in beach towns, mountain villages, or sleepy suburbs where the evenings are warm and quiet. This is a country where you can live fast or slow, loud or gentle, and somehow, it all feels natural. Malaysia is a country where nature feels close enough to touch, even from the center of its busiest cities. Mountains rise like green giants in the distance. Rainforests breathe with ancient humidity, and the coastline stretches with warm, shallow waters that shimmer beneath slow tropical sunsets. In the peninsula, places like Cameron Highlands and Genting Highlands offer cool escapes from the heat. Misty mornings, tea plantations, and air so crisp it feels like a different world entirely. On Borneo, the nature turns wilder. The dense jungles of Sabah and Sarawak, home to orangutans, towering dipterocarp trees, and rivers that twist through untouched land. Air quality shifts with the region and the season. In coastal areas, breezes keep the air fresh, salty, and easy to breathe. In dense cities, humidity mixes with traffic fumes, creating heavy afternoons that push people into shaded walkways and chilled cafes. And during certain months, haze from regional forest fires can drift in, softening the horizon and reminding the country of its fragile environmental balance. Yet Malaysia remains rich in outdoor spaces. Parks like KLCC, Perdana Botanical Garden, Penang Hill Trails, beaches in Terengganu, and the quiet forest reserves around Kuching give room to walk, hike, jog, or simply sit under a palm tree and listen to the wind rustling through leaves. Whether you're chasing waterfalls, climbing mountains, or strolling along an evening seafront, nature here is not an escape, it's part of daily life. Malaysia is a country where nature feels close enough to touch, even from the center of its busiest cities. Mountains rise like green giants in the distance, rainforests breathe with ancient humidity, and the coastline stretches with warm, shallow waters that shimmer beneath slow tropical sunsets. In the peninsula, places like Cameron Highlands and Genting Highlands offer cool escapes from the heat. Misty mornings, tea plantations, and air so crisp it feels like a different world entirely. On Borneo, the nature turns wilder. The dense jungles of Sabah and Sarawak, home to orangutans, towering dipterocarp trees, and rivers that twist through untouched land. Air quality shifts with the region and the season. In coastal areas, breezes keep the air fresh, salty, and easy to breathe. In dense cities, humidity mixes with traffic fumes, creating heavy afternoons that push people into shaded walkways and chilled cafes. And during certain months, haze from regional forest fires can drift in, softening the horizon and reminding the country of its fragile environmental balance. Yet Malaysia remains rich in outdoor spaces. Parks like KLCC, Perdana Botanical Garden, Penang Hill Trails, beaches in Terengganu, and the quiet forest reserves around Kuching give room to walk, hike, jog, or simply sit under a palm tree and listen to the wind rustling through leaves. Whether you're chasing waterfalls, climbing mountains, or strolling along an evening seafront, nature here is not an escape. It's part of daily life. Malaysia's history feels like layers of stories placed gently on top of each other. Malay kingdoms, Chinese traders, Indian migrants, Arabian sailors, European colonizers, and indigenous tribes who have lived on this land far longer than any written record. You see these layers the moment you step into a Malaysian city. In Kuala Lumpur, mosques with elegant domes stand near Chinese temples glowing with lanterns, while Hindu shrines overflow with color and incense. Penang's Georgetown is a living museum. Shophouses painted in soft pastels, British colonial buildings standing firm, and street art winding through alleys that once served spice traders and silk merchants. Across the peninsula, history speaks through forts in Malacca, traditional kampung houses raised on stilts, and royal palaces where Malay customs still shape ceremonies today. In Borneo, culture takes a different form. Longhouses of the Iban and Kadazan Dusun people, rituals tied to harvests, and dances performed beside firelit evenings. Festivals here are not just events, they're emotional milestones. Hari Raya brings families together in warm, open houses. Chinese New Year fills cities with red lanterns and the sound of drums. Deepavali bathes streets in light, and Gawai in Sarawak celebrates the bond between people and land. What makes Malaysia truly unique is how these cultures coexist, not blended into one, but living side by side, each preserving its flavor. This is a country where diversity doesn't feel like decoration. It feels like the country's heartbeat. Malaysia's social atmosphere is warm, in a way that doesn't rush toward you but slowly invites you in, like steam rising from a bowl of laksa on a rainy afternoon. Locals tend to be polite, soft-spoken, and respectful, shaped by traditions that value harmony over confrontation. Even in crowded cities, people move with a quiet rhythm. Doors held open, smiles exchanged, small courtesies offered without hesitation. For newcomers, Malaysia can feel surprisingly welcoming. English is widely spoken in urban areas, making conversations effortless, and most communities are used to cultural diversity because they live it every day. From Malay families offering festive sweets during Hari Raya, to Chinese aunties handing out oranges during New Year, or Indian neighbors sharing homemade sweets for Deepavali, hospitality here isn't a performance, it's woven into daily life. Expats often describe Malaysia as a place where it's easy to blend in, but just as easy to keep your own identity. Social circles form naturally in cafes, co-working spaces, university campuses, and coastal towns, where people gather for evening markets or seaside strolls. In smaller towns, the pace softens even more. Neighbors remember your name after a single meeting, and shopkeepers greet you like an old friend by your second visit. This is a country where differences rarely create distance. Instead, they create curiosity, an unspoken openness that makes Malaysia feel comfortable, familiar, and emotionally safe for anyone willing to live at its gentle pace. Malaysia's education system is a reflection of its multicultural identity, structured, diverse, and steadily improving. Public schools follow a national curriculum taught primarily in Malay, while science and mathematics often incorporate English, creating a bilingual environment for most students. International schools are widespread in major cities, offering British, American, or IB programs for families seeking global pathways. Universities like the University of Malaya, University Kebangsaan Malaysia, and Multimedia University attract students from across Asia, with programs in engineering, medicine, IT, and business that are regionally competitive. For many families, education is a central priority. Parents invest heavily in tutoring, weekend classes, and enrichment programs. In urban centers, it's common to see students heading to language centers, music schools, or robotics workshops after regular classes, a rhythm that shapes the country's next generation toward ambition and global mobility. Healthcare in Malaysia is one of its strongest pillars. The public system is highly affordable, with government hospitals offering treatments at prices that are a fraction of Western costs. Though public facilities can be crowded and waiting times long, the quality of medical professionals remains high. The private healthcare sector, meanwhile, is modern, fast, and equipped with advanced technology. Cities like Kuala Lumpur and Penang have developed into regional medical tourism hubs, drawing visitors from nearby countries for surgery, dentistry, and specialized treatments at competitive rates. For residents, this dual system creates balance: reliable public care for everyday needs, and private clinics for speed, comfort, or advanced procedures. Many expats consider Malaysia one of the best places in Asia for healthcare, not only because of its quality and affordability, but because care here still feels personal, human, and grounded in quiet professionalism.